As I make this video, it is Saturday, March 24th, 2018, and a lot of people today have marched in a March for Lives across the United States to basically to bring awareness and for the need for sensible gun law reform. And if you've seen this channel very much, you know kind of that I am a supporter of gun rights and stuff, but I got to say, I agree with them. I think it is time for some sensible gun law reform in the United States. That's what we're going to talk about next, coming up here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose, your home for information and gear reviews related to camping, survival, and general preparedness for regular folks. My name is Brian. Thanks for joining me. So, if you've seen the channel, you know that I have always been a supporter of the Second Amendment. I'm a believer in the right to concealed carry and the right to keep and bear arms. A lot of people today are marching in pretty much in reaction to some school shootings in the last several months here in the United States, and they're marching, they're trying to raise awareness, and they're lobbying Congress for sensible gun law reform. They say it's time, and you know what? I have to agree with them. I think it is definitely time for some sensible gun law reform. We're going to talk about that, and also something else in just a minute. I want to talk about the NRA and my thoughts about the NRA. So first of all, sensible gun law reform. Yes, I believe it is 100% time for sensible gun law reform. Let me explain to before I tell you what I think needs to happen. Let me explain to you kind of the reasoning behind that. We've had school shootings here this year, and in the past we've had mass killings. We've had a lot of different times where a deranged person or whatever, a terrorist in some cases, goes into a group of people and shoots them up and kills a lot of people. Two things that over 95% of those horrible situations have in common is, one, they occur in a gun-free zone, and two, they are stopped by somebody else with a gun. That is indisputable. The facts are there. And just last week we had another school shooting where a couple of students were shot and an armed police officer on site fired on the potential mass killer and stopped and prevented any more deaths. Like I said, I think it's time for some common sense gun law reform, and I think the number one thing we can do is end these useless, ridiculous, dangerous, pointless gun-free zones. It's obvious that all these killings, almost all of them, have taken place in gun-free zones. That itself is evidence that it does not work. Bottom line, the police are never seconds away. A lot of people can get killed between the time something starts and the police come. The second part of that is put armed people in those situations to protect, whether they are armed citizens who have passed the requirements to be concealed carry, and they can provide potential assistance, potential protection for themselves and those around them, or whether it is also armed professionals, policemen or security or whatever, that have been trained. Those two things will go further towards stopping mass killings than any other potential action by the legislature. And I think it's just common sense that the facts bear that out. That probably does not fit the agenda for many people that either are well-meaning or maybe not so well-meaning. They want to disarm me and you. But I'm not going to go shoot up a school. My firearms ownership poses zero risk to anybody. As a matter of fact, it potentially could be a benefit to somebody if God forbid, I had to use my weapon in defense of myself or others. So anyway, I hope you didn't think this was a clickbait title, because what I am proposing is a reform of existing legislation. We need to do away with these things which are allowing people to come in very freely and kill our children. So there's that. Real briefly, I want to talk about the NRA, and I'm gonna wrap this up. I've been an NRA member for as long as I can remember. If you're not, and you have any desire to protect and preserve your Second Amendment freedom, which is actually the freedom upon which all the others rest, then I encourage you to join the NRA. There are many other good organizations which are in favor of the Second Amendment. I don't disagree with that. I belong to a local one called GeorgiaCarry.org, and they do a great job locally with the legislature. But nobody has the horsepower that the NRA has. There's a reason that these people are boycotting the NRA, because they are the people that get things done. So if you're not a member, I encourage you to join. If you don't agree with everything they say, you don't agree with everything they do, whatever the case may be, overall they are doing an excellent job and have been of fighting to maintain our God-given rights. It's important to realize, and I don't know if they don't teach civics today or what, but rights that we have are not granted by the government. They are granted by our Creator according to the Constitution, and the function of the government is to preserve and protect those rights and to not allow them to be usurped by other people. Bottom line, if you know your civics at all, you know that the Founding Fathers unequivocally, it is absolutely inarguable, if anybody's willing to look at the facts, that the reason they included the Second Amendment in writing in the Bill of Rights is to allow the people of the United States the ability to protect themselves from a potentially overreaching tyrannical government. Now, I'm not saying that's happening, I'm just saying that's the bottom line of why it's there. So anyway, to wrap this up, I do think it is time for some common sense gun legislation, and that is getting rid of those useless, ridiculous gun-free zones and allowing our children to be protected by the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun, and that's a good guy with a gun. And if you're not a member of the NRA, join. I encourage you to join right now. It is that important to our continued freedom and the existence of our republic, in my opinion. Anyway, that's my rant. We'll be back to the gear reviews and outdoor stuff next time. Thanks for watching. I put out a brand new video every Friday and Saturday. Very often random videos throughout the week. You can check out a new one right here. If you're not subscribed, you can click right down there. Thanks for your support. Once again, my name's Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.